Hello, Mr. Isles. How are you?
Captain America. What a, you know what? Our shirts. I got to talk about this. I noticed that when I saw you here a minute ago. I feel like you're the yin to my yang, or I'm the yang to your yin. How is that, right? We got the black, white, the good, evil, and
You know I'm a big music guy, right? And when you started saying that, I was thinking of the song, uh, yeah, Black, White, yeah, 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 little Michael Jackson. I was thinking about. So, how are you
of
today?
course, of course, Tony. That's the one thing. It's I would have guessed before we started this that Tony's going to talk about music. There's going to be
Well,
some, and let me tell you, when we got
yes.
on even beforehand, he was singing Dream Weaver or Dream Catcher, Dream something, right?
Listen, Dream Lover.
Dream Lover.
And I'm looking it up as we speak, not to burn any time, but it's one of my all-time favorite songs. It's by Bobby Darin back in 1959. Dream
Wow.
Lover. You,
It,
you, you just got to have it. You got to have it in your collection. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is tonight, I guess it's the Tony and Jeremy show. I would normally say hi-yo, but we're just having fun and chatting and mixing it up with some few friends here. So welcome, everybody, as normal. Let us know where you're clicking in from, where you're calling in from, your go-to webinaring in from, I guess I should say. Let me know that you're here. Say hello, say what's up. Give me your favorite song in the whole wide world, favorite band, whatever you want to do. And we're going to kick it off. Tonight, Mr. Isles, we are going to be talking about cash flow properties. So it's a pretty exciting evening, don't you think?
yes. Absolutely, my favorite topic. So I've been dropping hints on Facebook and everything, and this absolutely is my favorite one. It's and you're gonna hear. I just can't hide it, right? I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Should I throw out more like music lines, Tony, to really get your mind racing and take on music lyrics the whole time? That's
All
great.
right. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking about cash flow properties. For those of you that have been with us, obviously you know we've done a lot of wholesales and flips, and some of you know the extent of our cash flow background. Some of you do not. But tonight is going to be exclusively dedicated to cash flow properties. The other funny thing is when you talk about music and older music, Jeremy and I were talking about earlier about cash flow properties, and some people kind of look at that like, oh, you know what? I don't really like cash flow for whatever reason. Like, and we were talking about this isn't your grandma's cash flow program. This is 2021, Burr method, all kinds of other kind of things that we're going to be talking about. It's like, Jeremy, that reminds me of the new Buick commercial, right? Where it's not your grandma's Buick or whatever. My grandma used to drive a
Yeah.
Buick, which I loved, and the new ones are fantastic. 3 p.m. Pacific for you, Terry Ann. I love it. Got it. Okay, noted. I'm gonna give you a buzz tomorrow. If you get a call from 867-530, no, I'm just kidding. That wouldn't be me, although that song and number pops into my head. So we're gonna be talking about cash flow tonight. We got a lot to get going. And I want to tell you too, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. Two things, two kind of admin pieces. We have Easter coming up. We have a little Easter, little spring break that Jeremy and I are going to be taking. So if you want to be updated and kept in the loop on when we're going to be doing our next webinar or webinars, please let us know in the chat box, and also go to our Facebook page on high impact outcomes. So if you go into Facebook and type in high impact outcomes, you'll see us, and we're going to keep some updates going there. And we're also going to put up our email address and our phone number, but I'm going to tell it to you right now because there's a couple of reasons. Number one, we want you to have it. Number two, as we go through our cash flow webinar tonight, at the end of this, Jeremy is going to be talking about, he calls it I forget, whatever 12, I call it the dirty dozen, but
I like it.
because we've concentrated mostly in training our students on advanced wholesaling and brick and mortar fix and flips, we're going to be doing a cash flow course. Okay, a cash flow course. So write down this number, 833 446-2329, and I'll put it in the chat box as well, 833-446-2329. And then write down our email address, which is success, SUCCESS, at highimpactoutcomes.com. That's success at highimpactoutcomes.com. And while you're on Facebook, checking us out, like us, love us, forward, share all of it. We'd love hearing some comments as well. And the other part about tonight is when we're done, we're Jeremy, my background, I almost said we're looking for a few good men, right? So we're looking for a few good men and women to be a part of our cash flow mastermind group. So Jeremy's going to run through a big broad stroke on today's cash flow, right? Some of you may be used to rental property in general, but you don't really know the big picture point of it. That's what we're going to be covering tonight. And then when we're done, if that's something that you're interested in and you're ready to take advantage of an incredible market out there right now, that 2020 real estate was insane, 2021 Q1 was insane, cash flow properties, there's not enough inventory out there for turnkey buyers. People are looking. Some people are priced out of this current market because of where we sit. Prices all-time high, interest rates all-time low. The market for people looking to buy houses to live in is crazy right now. So what are people doing? They're renting, right? And the rental market is always good, right? It depends on where you are, and it's all about getting the right property at the right price, which Jeremy's going to be discussing. But for those of you that are looking to invest and do it a little different way and look for a cash flow rental system that's going to make you money, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So without further ado, Mr. Jeremy Isles, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely, Tony. My favorite topic. I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit here to jump in and share all the stuff. And you're right, Tony. It is not what people think of when you think of rentals. Tony and I were talking about this earlier. When you hear somebody say rentals, and I know it's different now because you and I look at them completely differently, Tony. But what about 20 years ago? If somebody would have said they owned rentals, what would you have thought? What popped into mind?
Just kind of dirty, old, nasty, maybe $50, $100 a month that you got to manage and you have problems with and all of that. I had an uncle. So one uncle, my Uncle Bob, right? He had a bunch of them and I never knew about him. Then I had another uncle on my other side that had a couple. And, looking back at it now, I realize why he was always complaining about it. We would be doing family events. He wouldn't be there. You know what he'd be doing? Repairs on the properties and all that. So that initially, years ago, that's what I thought about too.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Think of that. And all those. So here's what we've done with this technique that we love so much, that I love it more than, like I said, any technique, is we took all the good things that we like out of rentals and we got rid of all the bad stuff. Yep, that's it. That's kind of it in a nutshell. We can wrap up, Tony. That's it. There you guys go. The webinar's done. There you go. Pick the good out of the bad.
Happy Easter, right?
Yep, happy Easter. Yep, that's right. Happy Easter. There we go. Well, I'll share the screen. I'll jump in. Captain America, feel free to jump in as you anytime you need.
Well, I'm looking through already, Jeremy. We're getting a lot of comments, and I love it. And one thing that I didn't cover that I normally do in the very beginning, so while Jeremy's booting up his screen there, we're going to be doing some questions and answers at the end of this. And sometimes as we go through it, we answer it as well. But I see a lot of great comments. I have you. Yes, I will. Hello, everyone. Okay, perfect. Okay, got it. I'm just kind of going through some of the Q&A right now because I'm making a list of them. And when we're done here, we're going to be covering those. So if you have any questions about, in general, anything related to real estate, you can ask. But we're going to try to keep this more specific to cash flow properties. But if you have done wholesales in the past and maybe you're stuck, you have a question on it, ask. If you're doing fix and flips right now, you have a question, ask. So we're not going to limit the Q&A just to that, but we'd like to focus on that. Hello, Linda. I'm glad. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you're interested. Yeah, we'll give you a buzz as well. And what I'm going to be doing is, if you want to be contacted about our cash flow mastermind program, do me a favor, put in the questions block to say, yes, call me, and give me a phone number and an email. And some of you are previous students, so we have that, but just to expedite it, sometimes email change, phone numbers change. That way I have it on here. I'm making a list. I already have 4 or 5 of you that are interested that we'll be giving you a call on and be more specific about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And so as we go through here, 2 things, questions, line them up, doesn't matter what it is. And then if you're interested in the cash flow program that we have going, give us your email and your phone number. Okay, Jeremy, let's do it.
I think you got the wrong holidays, Tony. Making a list, right? Isn't that Christmas?
Well, I see what you did there.
Mixing them up there. So we'll answer cash flow questions or music. Tony will answer any music genre questions, any of that too. We got it.
Especially 80s music. Bring it.
We got your 6, exactly. Awesome. Okay, well, let's jump in. You can see my slide okay?
You're good.
Good, awesome. And I see, Joel, you made it, awesome. Glad, ECAT, yes, I see the questions too coming in, and we'll be glad to circle back to those if we forget them. I'm gonna go in through it. I like to recap last week just briefly because of time. Last week we talked about the real truth behind no money down deals. I can't think of a real estate strategy where really you can't do it without money. You need money, it doesn't have to be your own, is what I mean. So yes, it does take money. Absolutely, it takes money to make money. It's just, guys and gals, right, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it still without any money. But it's sometimes not that easy. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to get money for deals, I'll be blunt, you probably shouldn't get money for deals because you might lose somebody's money. And I know me personally, I've seen that happen. And that's the last thing you want to do is do that. I've seen, investors and, they jump in blindly and they think, oh, it's real estate, I'll always make money. No, you got to have a system. You got to know what you're doing. So last week too, we talked about, no money down deals, and there's 2 different types of people that partner with you, right? You can have the debt investor, and a debt investor is a lender who lends money. Let me move some of my slides here all around too, but lends money at a fixed interest rate. That's why the interest rate has the lock on it. You guys like that? A little witty there. So a fixed interest rate. And the other one is an equity investor who lends it for a piece of the pie, splitting it with you. Now, when you first start off, remember, just to recap briefly, most of the time you're going to get somebody that partners with you. If it's a gap partner on a fix and flip or they're lending money, they want a piece of the pie. Even what I'm going to talk about today on rental properties, generally they're going to want a piece of the pie. As you do more and more, get more experience, you can lock in a fixed interest rate, which makes you more money. So that's the 2 different ones, but again, you can do these all day, every day, because they're done every day in real estate. I personally have done them, and I've helped, Tony and I have helped, let's say 1,000+ people do these exact strategies. So it's not like, oh, that's the 1%. No, the 1% is the other way. The people, or maybe 5% has all the cash and just comes in and buys it all cash with their own money. Maybe 5–10% of the people. So that's the minority. The majority of it need funds. Finding the money, we talked about a bunch of different ways to find the money. This is how many people would like this for your proof of funds? Just send this to your realtor. So there you go, right? Just take a picture of it, and does that work? Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about finding money, how to find money last time, a bunch of different ways of finding it. And yeah, there's money out there, you just got to find the deal. It's hard to really line up a lot of money until you have a deal. We do have this, and this is exciting. One of our mastermind groups that we're coaching and training and teaching, the mastermind groups, I am blown away. This is our first year of kind of doing that mastermind kind of like this, where we're doing, instead of just webinars, we're doing meetings. And that's what we're interviewing for. When Tony talked about that for the next 12 people, the dirty dozen. And let me share what they're running into right now. So many of them are finding money, even as they're finding deals, or even before they find deals, which that's normally not the case. It's harder to find money before you have a deal, right? It's hard to steer a parked car. You got to get momentum. But that tells you their knowledge, their confidence, and money's being attracted to them, and they're finding money hand over fist. I love it. Big money. So my favorite real estate investing strategy, right? New and improved cash flow properties, right? Cash flow properties 2.0. You can buy rental properties and build a large income income producing portfolio without running out of money. And does that sound too good to be true, guys? It's not. That's what you can do. Now, is there pros and cons to everything? Absolutely, and I'm going to cover that. But let's jump in and go through kind of the strategies and what we're doing. The old traditional rentals that Tony and I were talking about, right? You're the landlord. You deal with tenants, slumlords, right? You hear about them. That you manage everything. You do everything. You do your books. You collect the rents. You name it. I heard one person today, an investor, was saying that years ago they had somebody there on the premises that stole the checks that whenever they would drop them off. Right? So these things, we don't deal with these anymore. Some of these old techniques and old strategies, they're archaic. 20% down payment. That was the traditional rental, right? You bought a house. If you go to buy a rental right now, a turnkey rental, let's say it's already has tenants in it, great strategy. You make great money, but 20% down. That's the normal kind of way that people think. There's a better way. You need to live by the property. You got to do the repairs. You don't want it 2 hours away. My brother reminded me of one of ours that we had, and I didn't even share this with Tony. I don't think he knows this. There's this small town north of here called Eureka, Montana, and it's right on the Canadian border. Those of you that know me know I'm up here in Montucky, some of you call it, but I'm not too far from Canada. And he was driving up there to one of our rentals we had 18 years ago, because we had the old system, not the new and improved 2.0. And he was driving up there and he forgot one of the tools that he needed. Not fun, right? So that's what we did back in the day. You had to live by the property. If you do a refinance it, you must wait a year. It need to be seasoned before if you had a loan on it and you want to refinance something, you had to wait a seasoning time. And you'd fix all the repairs yourself, right? Something was done, that toilet clogged at midnight and the tenants are calling you about something. Yeah, that fun, right? So that was the old way. And let me tell you though, you did make a solid ROI, a good return on investment, but you're working for it, aren't you? So that was the old traditional way. The turnkey rental example, let me just walk you through it here. I still love this. These are still great numbers though, but and you see why I even did this years ago. We still made really great money on that one. You buy a rental, let's say 100,000, you put 20% down. Right, your mortgage, insurance, taxes, property management fees, miscellaneous fees, let's say $600. And again, it varies depending on where you're at. If it rents for $1,000, well, what's your spread, right? If your overhead 600 and you're bringing in 1,000, well, you're making 400 a month. And I didn't times it by 12 months because there's probably 1 month vacancy. So you times it by 11 months, there's 4,400 a year. Not bad return. So your cash on cash return, right? And how you calculate this cash on cash return, guys, I'm going to cover some numbers, so pay close attention here. Don't be distracted. Is the money you put out. So if you put down $20,000 down, right? Because that was your 20% of 100,000, right? And you're bringing in 4,400 a month, right? You divide that into it, and you're making 22% a year. That's a solid return, isn't it? And on top of that, if you do appreciation, and I just did 3% of this example, but it's 3 to 5%, and we've been seeing that go extremely high lately, haven't we? On our rentals, really great. Appreciation 3% a year, on 100,000, well, that's an extra $3,000. What'd you do for it? Just own the property. So again, very, very great returns on our money, and you can see why so many people. Tony's Uncle Bob did this years ago, right? Cash on cash return after factoring in appreciations, 37% return on your investment. It's hard to bag that one, isn't it, right? I'm not saying it's not a great avenue. I'm just saying, hey, it's still a solid avenue. Now, what if you would have bought 20 of these? Yeah, well, let me keep adding here. In year two, what happens the next year? Additional appreciation, right? More rents. Rents probably increase. If I don't increase my rents every year, I do it every other year. And I talk to more of my property management companies is what I'll do and feedback and what's going on. And that's how I decide what to do. But let me tell you, I'm not lowering them. I haven't had to lower them at all. Once you get tenants in and things are going in, the markets we're investing in and you should be investing in should be rents go up, don't they? Not down. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait, time out, Jeremy. What about the pandemic going on? What about people not paying rents? Again, you get a good property management company that vets them properly, that has the systems, that manages, hundreds of tenants. They know how to vet the right ones and get the right ones in. So guess what? I've had zero late payments, missed payments, anything during this whole time. not one of my properties. And can I pat myself on the back for that? Nope. But I'm smart enough to realize that these other people are better than I am. Let them manage it. If I was managing it, yeah, probably not so fun. Yeah, and I have managed some in the past, and let me tell you, we did have problems. Turn it over to the professionals. Wow, interview them. Make sure you get a great property management company. I usually go through 20 questions when we interview them in our mastermind group. We go through the 20 questions and we share other property management companies we like and don't like, and some great tips there. But back to the turnkey thing, or a turnkey rental or a traditional rental. What if you would have bought 20 of these, or 10 of these, a few of these? I don't even care about the numbers. 20 years ago. Right? What if you had bought them in? Tony was in San Diego, and now he's in Pennsylvania, right? What if you had bought 20 of, or a handful of these in San Diego 20 years ago? Right? What if your family would have bought a few of these 20 years ago? Right? Your parents, right? How would that have changed your life? Where would you guys be at today if you look back at that? And just owning them. Buy it. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Yeah, why cash flow is the best? Yeah, cash flow, on my extra money on my cash flow properties, 12, 15% higher on some of mine. I don't like to paint the high ones. I've seen people do this, one of the methods that we're going to talk about here in a minute, and they made 60 some percent, 70%. Appreciation goes up every year. But what's amazing about that appreciation, 3 to 5% on your money doesn't sound that great. 3 to 5% the house appreciating, but you didn't put 100,000 into it, did you? Because you leveraged it with a little bit, like a jack, right? You control it, you can lift up the whole thing. It's 3 to 5% on the total amount. You only put in traditional cash flow, right? You put in 20,000 using this example, and if you made 5% of that, that's a huge return on the money leveraged. So all about leverage. Then the next year, 3% on top of that, right? 3% on top of that, right? Or whatever it is, 3, 5%. You see how it keeps compounding. And why is now such a good time to do it? Well, if you were to give some young 18-year-old advice and they said, I'm thinking about putting money in a retirement account or putting money in a 401k, should I do it, right? And start young. What would you tell them to do? Should they start young, or they say, you know what, I don't have let me just wait 10 years, 20 years before I start saving money and building a retirement? Well, we all know the best answer is, man, the earlier they start, the more it compounds, right? Compound interest, right? They say the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest. So don't wait to start investing. Why would you? The principal pay down, how cool is that? So every month, think about this, somebody's putting money in a savings account for you. Look at it like that. Every month, my business bank accounts for my properties are increasing. And what's happened to my mortgage payment on my refinance whenever I did that? Those are going down and the money's going up. How do you say no to that, right? What's the downside there? Again, the power of leverage. And number 4, the fourth one I'd love to cover here is the tax benefits. If you make right now $100,000 at a job as a W-2 employee, even if you're an accountant who specializes in it, but if you're an accountant for a you work for someone else, you're a W-2 employee, and you make $100,000 investing in real estate, or you're an accountant working for someone else, you're going to save a ton more money on taxes being the real estate investor, especially on cash flow properties, because we're not hit as high on capital gains. So really great benefits. Depreciation, I mean, just the list goes on and on and on with the tax benefits. What's the old saying? It's not what you make, it's how much you get to keep. So the BRRRR method is what I'm going to be talking to you about. So some of you might have heard of this, some of you haven't. It's just an acronym, BRRRR, right? It just stands for these letters over here on the left. So the B stands for buy, the R is rehab, next is rent, refinance, and then repeat. And what's neat about this method is it allows you to pull all the money back out of it and keep it going again and again and again. Because now if you can pull all your money back out and own a property, then you have all your money back out, and it's making you, like I said, the mini oil well. Think of it like that. It's making you money every month at the savings account, and you got all your money back out. Why can't you, that's a system, that's a business now, isn't it? So again, I get so excited about this because I love this. The BRRRR method is a strategy of adding value to a property, though, with the goal of pulling out the entire initial investment while continuing to hold the property for rental income. But we got to add value to it, so we do need to have some rehab on it. We're not buying turnkey. That's the difference. Okay, so let's go through the example. I know people like visually to see things and live examples instead of just hearing it. So we buy the property, let's say it's a fixer-upper, 50,000, and we rehab it for 25,000, and we rent it. We can just do 1,000. And rents are going to vary depending on your area, right? It could be 800, and you might think, timeout, Jeremy, let's go back for a second. You might say, where the heck am I getting some for 50,000? I get it in Seattle. That might just be a kitchen remodel for 50,000, not getting a full house. So more of the Midwest, some of the southern states, Texas, to Tennessee, it depends on where you're at. Ohio, Iowa, again, more Midwest, you'll see these. Now, can you do these in other areas? Yes. But the 1% rule doesn't work so well for those. And 1% rule just means whatever the money you're in it. So if you're in it 50 plus 25, right, 75,000. If you're in it that, what's 1% of 75,000, which would be $750. So are we making at least $750 in rent? Yes. Again, that doesn't work in Seattle so well, or California, some of those markets. So we rent it, and then the BRRRR method, again, kind of going through this, is we refinance it. So after we rent it, so the rehab, if it's 25,000, takes you a month to do that. You start the rehab process or refinance process kind of as you're getting tenants in, and then you refinance it. They'll give you 75% of what it's worth. So that's why we got to add value to this. So we got to buy a house that needs some work. So again, if we refinance it, it's worth 100,000. Once it's fixed up, what's 75% of that? 75,000. So now we got all our money back that we put into the deal. And what do we do again, right? Repeat the process, do it again. And the turnkey, right? I told you we covered some of the old way of doing it, but let's talk about the new way. Property management companies, those are our lifeline. Man, I use them to find out how fast will it rent. I don't want to rent in areas that are going to take a while to get tenants in. I want good tenants. I want solid tenants. I want the right caliber of tenants, not the pain in the butt ones. They don't want the pain in the butt ones either. So make sure they'll help me guide me in the right markets if I'm in a new place, and I don't want to be in the, be a slumlord. Instead of us managing the old way, manage and do everything, now we manage the managers. So again, I just look at the reports. What's the data? What's coming in? Did we have any repairs this month? I get 100% of the investment back out. The other way here, we had to put 20% down, didn't we? The old way. Here we got all of our money back out. We can invest anywhere. So we don't have to live by the property. My properties, I have many of them that I've never seen. I don't plan on seeing them. Yeah, well, why? As long as that money comes in every month, right? Mailbox money. We can cash out and refi as fast as we want. Since we never had a mortgage on it in the first place, we don't have to go by those guidelines. So we can get all our money back out, cash it all out, and we can turn our money faster. I love this one. And anybody that's an investor and wants to make it scalable, this is a big one, because if you put 20% down on a property the old way, well, how long before you can kind of get that money back, right? So you can use it for another property, right? You have to wait for it to appreciate or wait to collect enough in rents and then kind of use that to go buy another property. Not here, right? You can easily do one, every 3 months, 4 months, right? It depends on the scope of work, what you're doing, what the areas are. The more you dial in the system, the faster and easier it is. And we have 25% equity in the property. Everyone that's worried about that loves safety, high five. I love that. You should love safety. Well, how safe are we by keeping 25% equity in the house? So if it's worth 100, we only refinance it to 75. Because first of all, it's all the banks will let us, but that tells us we have a great buffer. And when do people get in trouble in real estate, whether you're a homeowner or whether you're an investor? When people get in trouble, it's when they overextend themselves. They pull out too much on their house, and they were to lose something. With all of these cash flow, and we have equity. So if the market were to dip some, as interest rates go up, right? The market usually comes down. As interest rates go down, guess what? Property values go up. The general rule of thumb on that is if it goes up 1%, they drop 10%. Yeah, so 1% interest rates, it swings the property values down 10%. If they go down 1%, they swing them up 10%. And we've seen that. So that's kind of the general rule of thumb. So again, we're nice and safe here because we have equity in it. And we do none of the repairs ourselves, none of them. And talk about the old way gave you a solid return on investment. Well, if you got all your money back out, your return's infinite. So you can still do these deals without any money out of pocket, like we talked about the last week, and you can do these deals, no money. You can create a financing, and it's easy to get on these deals. A heck of a lot easier. This is kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for these, they don't have to be tore up, the cabinets, we'll paint them. And here's one of fourplex that picked up. Here's the kind of the side-by-side photos. So you can see it's, how fun is it to have a bunch of these, right? And I'm not managing them. I'm not going to them. I'm not doing anything there, but you just get the mailbox money coming in and build that portfolio. Think about the sweet things that we want in life. What's the one thing that everyone wants when I talk to them? And it's really, they want security. That's such a big one for the majority of the people. They want security. Well, we get appreciation here. So that we love that. Let's capture appreciation. We get cash flow. Well, great. We need cash flow coming in. We get the debt pay down, and the tenants are paying our debt down, and the tax benefits help us immensely too. We love tax. Let me tell you guys, when you owe money in taxes, that's a pain in the butt. I've done it in the past. I don't like it. And what do we want? We want the best return on our investment, whether you're putting time, energy, money into it. And what a phenomenal return we're seeing here. And especially if you're not putting money into it, because you can do creative financing. But we'll talk about security. How many rental properties would you need before you can kind of replace your job or build a heck of a retirement for you and your family? The first property example, let's just go through it real quickly. If you bought a house for 75, here's a slightly different numbers, but give you guys another example. You bought it for 75 because maybe your markets you're looking into, you can't buy it for 50. There's some that people are buying for 20, 30 that we're teaching right now. But let's say you bought it for 75, your rehab's 25, and your refi, they'll give you 105 on it because the property's worth, once it's fixed up, remember we got to add value to it, it's worth 140. And are we buying these? Yes, right now, every one of the students I'm working with, teaching, and our mastermind group, all of them, myself included, we're buying them for 40, 60 cents on the dollar, and we refinance them up to 75 cents on the dollar. And can we find these deals? Yes. And here's the mistake people think. They think, how can I buy it for 75 when it's worth 140? It's not worth 140 as is. You have to do some repairs to it to make it worth more. So that value add is what we're doing. And instead of us competing with fix and flippers, we can outbeat them even because we're not doing the same repairs. Those pictures I just showed you, we make them tenant proof. Right? I'm not putting all new cabinets in like I would on my fix and flip properties. I'm not doing all new appliances, stainless steel, and all of those things. Nope, it's a rental. So I need to do enough to get my property value up, and you refinance it so you get 105. You get all your money back out of it, and your rent's 1,200. Well, let's just talk equity in these examples. How many of you would like to buy one house and all of a sudden your equity, your net worth went up 35,000 just by doing one of them, that one property in this example? Can you do that on your first, we call it Q1, right? Quarter one in your business. Can you find one of these deals in 3 months? And these are easier to find than even fix and flips because we don't need as large a spread. So, okay, Q2 now, let's say your second quarter, you buy another one, you buy a second property, right? Because you pulled that money back out, you want your money turning. So whether it's your money or you're having your cash partner come in with the money, so exact same numbers, we just doubled it. Yep, so the same purchase, same rehab, you're kind of find your little niche that you're doing these. So rents are coming in and your equity now is 70,000. Well, not bad 6 months, is it? Well, let's fast forward to 1 year. So in 1 year, you do the same strategy, right? Now your equity is 140. How hard do you work for 140,000? Right now, how hard do you work for that? And here the properties are doing that. And what happens next year? Right? Does the equity even go up? Yeah, right, because the houses are worth more and appreciation, and tenants are paying down the mortgage, and again the tax benefits, and all these benefits on besides it. Let's go to year two, and I'm not going to keep extrapolating this again and again, but let's just stop here at year two. What if you bought a total of eight properties, right? One every quarter. That's it. I'm not telling you to change the world and solve world peace. I'm just saying, hey, one every 90 days, can you find one? The answer, of course you can. Some markets are easier than others. You may not be able to do it in your own local market. You may have to go to a different market to do these. But at the end of 2 years, have an equity, right, net worth of 280,000. And plus your rents are going to increase, your mortgages are getting paid down, the tax benefits. And again, how many of you can do this for retirement? Right? How many of you, once these are paid off, having $10,000 a month coming in can help that retirement and have that passive residual income coming in every month? So you see the Burr investing is one of the most powerful real estate investing strategies for building a rental portfolio, right? And growing your net worth, bar none. I haven't seen anything better than this one. You know, again, you can do these same strategies even at commercial and the higher end stuff too. And kind of going through this, there's so many things I can talk about this for days, and I do. You know, with our masterminds and some of the teachings and the webinars I do, and you know, weekend webinars. But I wanted to hit some highlights on it. And Tony knows, he was asking me like, hey, how long are we going to talk about this? Because he knows I could go on and on. You know, I love to share some of them, but look at some of the highlights. You can get quick monthly cash flow. I love residual income coming in, right? You can build it for long term, right? If you want to build a retirement long term, or you can do even short term. You know, start picking up a few of them now, and it's going to change your financial situation in as short as a few years. You know, really help you. You can pass it on to generations, right? Have generational wealth, right? Leave your kids something, leave a legacy. Another strategy to flipping or wholesaling properties. Right? Instead of just doing that strategy, or if you don't like that strategy as much, here you go. Right? Protects against recession and inflation. Whenever we've seen recession and stuff, my rents, I did not lower them. You know, my rents aren't going down. So I've been able to protect myself. You know, my company. That's how I look at it. You know, about my family. So there's kind of the highlight of this avenue. And I know there's pros and cons. Let me share a couple of cons with it too. And Tony could jump back on here, and I'll see this. But you know, we've already interviewed. We've had people reaching out to us because they know I love this, and they've been seeing some of my posts or hearing about it from other students too and other investors. So we already do have a few people that are already jumping on, and a bunch that are interviewing too for this process. So if you want to be part of that dirty dozen, absolutely let us know. But some of the cons for this, what are some negatives, right? Because I've told the positives. Some of the negatives are, let me think here. What if you got the rental, or you get an appraisal and you're not able to pull it all back out? You thought it was worth 140 and the appraisal came back at 130. Okay, well, what happens if you left $5,000 in that deal, but you still have all those other benefits? You got back all your money but $5,000, and you have a cash flow property and all that equity? Boo-hoo, right? Not so bad. If you got a bad tenant, well, how do we avoid that? By having the right property management company. So again, whatever you're running into, rents could go down. Well, not in my areas where I'm at, but that could happen, right? People are bailing out of New York pretty fast, and Tony's not too far from New Jersey. People have been migrating away from those two places pretty heavily. So buy it in the right areas, and I don't see that happening. So Captain America, I know you're back on here. I'll let you chime in, and if I covered anything too that you wanted me to circle back to that you felt like maybe I brushed over quickly, let me know.
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job hitting the big bullet areas. And I know for me, it was kind of starting out in the brick and mortar world, and then doing some wholesale deals, but primarily focusing on brick and mortar fix and flips. Initially, I kind of was shied away from this as well. I mean, when you made that comment earlier, I think a lot of people do that, and they, they're worried about where to get the money too. Some people have money for it, some people do not, and I know that's one thing that you're always working on is getting funding for different kinds of deals. And I know our mastermind members are really good about sharing ideas, giving a different perspective, and having that team or camaraderie group to work with. It's one thing being able to be, coach, mentored, and trained, but also having that environment where you have support and other people working with you, I think is phenomenal.
Can I jump in there, Tony?
Say again?
Yeah, jump in and add something there. We were taught this, Tony.
Yeah, I was just going through some of the questions, but go ahead, fire away, please.
Because I know I've been taught this, and I've taught this same strategy, and I know I'm going to speak for you on this one, but you interject if I mess up here. We even taught people before, hey, start off with wholesaling or fix and flips, and then you can transition to cash flow properties. The thing is, with these avenues and stuff we're seeing, man, we're seeing people bypass it and seeing faster results, better results, and just found their niche, because sometimes they were struggling maybe in this avenue or this area, but now they're on that fast lane.
Yeah, that's a really good point too, because several years ago in training cycles leading up to, and I still like the, flip and make money, and buy one and hold. But there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with that part of it, right? And they don't want to do the brick and mortar fix and flip. They don't mind doing a rehab, but they want to hold on. And I think legacy piece comes into it more and more. I'm hearing that a lot when people before. I used to hear more of, well, I need to flip and make chunks of money, but now I'm hearing more of protecting that longevity piece, retirement, legacy, to be able to pass it through some sort of a trust or something in their name. So I'm hearing more and more of that when we're talking to students.
Yep. Another thing too, to compound it and make it more scalable, that Tony and I were briefly texting back and forth today too, is as you build your business up too, lines of credit. Banks will extend you more and more credit, more and more stuff as you build and get a name for yourself. As your net worth goes up, it helps you in other ways, right? So then success attracts more success. And what if you had a line of credit for $500,000? How much more scalable is this business? So again, it's a business, not, I don't want to, the old traditional way, Tony, I felt like people, Coach Tony was a hobby, right? Kind of a little hobby here and there. But let me tell you, we run across people today, and I won't forget some elderly people, and they've been retired forever, and they own 30 properties, and they are multimillionaires, and there's this. But yeah, they busted their butt, they got 30 properties, and they set themselves up and their family and future generations.
That's right. That's right. Shall we go through a couple Q&A here? Oh, so a few of you have said, how Robert, Linda, a few other ones in here, how do you become part of what we're talking about on the Dirty Dozen? All we want you to do right now, it's kind of a two-part thing for us, and here's why. We're not trying to do this on a large scale. We did that with brick and mortar fix and flips. We did it at a bigger scale. We took on more students. We took on, people that we were teaching advanced wholesaling, and we love doing that. But we're really trying to do this in a little more niche way this time and have a group environment. So if you want to know what it is more, and Jeremy, you can, cover some of the details on what you do with that part of it. All we're looking for now is interest only. And then what we're going to do is reach out to you, and quite frankly, we're going to do a little bit of an interview. And I know that kind of sounds backwards, like you need to interview us too, especially for the new students. For those of you that have been with us for a while and hyper focused on the flip side of it, us already. But for those of you that are new, I want you to just do this. Let us know, either send us an email or give us a call, and do it now. You can do it right now. That way we have it. And over the next, today and tomorrow, we're going to be returning these calls. So Thursday and Friday, we're going to be returning these calls, and we're going to go through, and it's not intense, but what we're looking for is just people that are really incentivized and motivated to do this, do it right, and able to work with other people in our group, because we don't want the negative Nancy's or the downer Dannies or none of that nonsense. This is a true mastermind group, hyper focused on cash flow properties. Our students are killing it. They're making multiple offers, getting them accepted at a rapid rate right now. So we're protective of that and that environment because we just started it. And so the reason why we wanted to kind of do this webinar tonight and focus on is because we have a few more slots left that we wanted to offer to people. This isn't a mass thing. So if you're interested in doing it, let us know, and we will give you a call. Send us your email, once again, your phone number, and the best time too. Give us a couple times to give you a buzz, because there's 4 or 5 of you that have already said you want in. So give us a couple times tomorrow or Friday, and we'll give you a buzz and lock it in. Jeremy, why don't you roll through kind of what we've been doing too, and some of the successes that you've seen from our students being a part of this. And for some of you that say, well, if you already got it started, me, I'm not interested. That's not how it works, because the great thing about it is it evolves more and more. We don't want it too big because it gets confusing. That's why we call it a dirty dozen. That's a very manageable amount of people for us to, and we teach, but we also combine the efforts of our students that are out there winning right now in different markets all over the country. And we're able to communicate that not on a webinar, but in more of a meeting style. So you see other people, we're able to openly communicate, which is very, very powerful. Jeremy, do you have a couple things to say about that, brother?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, really what it is, it's not get rich quick at all, nor should anybody think that, because it's not. It is rental retirement, though. It absolutely is. You want rental retirement. You want to make it scalable, but go at a. We all know in life, if we do put too much on our plate, it's not a good thing. Sometimes we can miss things, drop the ball. You can do the wrong scope of work. You can do things in any avenue in real estate and lose money. You absolutely can. And same with us coaching and mentoring people. That's why we only want to keep it to a small group. Now we have to, because let me tell you guys, Tony's great at protecting my time on this, because sometimes I want to be that person that bites off and gives, and Tony's like kind of helps me and pulls the reins back and says, Jeremy, we need to, I know you have such a big heart and you want to help everyone, and he's really he has my counterbalance and helps me out a lot, and I'm so grateful for that because of that reason. But we want the right people in. I don't want somebody who's a pain in the butt, but I want like-minded people, because also the other 12 people that are in here, this group, it's a mastermind group. We're all sharing, giving, helping each other out. Some people are partnering right now with each other with some of the funds, and they're looking to partner with each other with some of the funds. Like I said, and sharing intel, like from property managements to certain zip codes to watch out for. And in Cleveland, for example, Cleveland Heights, higher taxes, the POS. I know that may sound like something different to some of you, point of sale, but it is in Cleveland. I'm sure everyone was thinking that, but none of us are as smart as all of us. None of us are as smart as all of us. So that's what I love about this group. It's not just me teaching it, it's all of us collectively. Okay, what did we accomplish this week? What are we tackling this week? What obstacles did we run into? And collectively, we all share, grow, and we love it. Love it. It's been some great, phenomenal result. And I was, like I said, this was our first year kind of doing that mastermind, and it is exceeding my expectations on what we're seeing. Now, students getting the stuff accepted. One of them's already, because once you do over 10 loans, 10 properties, you need to get a different financing. So you need to get a portfolio lender. So they're already searching for portfolio lenders, already have a great one lined up that's already working. And what is that person doing? Sharing it with everyone else. Hey, here's a great portfolio lender. Here's why they were able to help me. Because if you do some of the cheaper houses, some of the other portfolio lenders weren't working, but here you go. So awesome success.
Fantastic. Let's roll through some Q&A. And
Okay.
then anybody here that has any more questions about our program, feel free to hit it. All of you that have already put your info down, I've made notes, so we're good to go there. Thank you for that. And we'll, like I said, we'll give you a call tomorrow or Friday. Interesting number there, ECAT, your last four is awesome. Okay, so speaking of ECAT, you had a question about, no, it's not the same as buying notes. And you had another question, we will tell Cherie, you said hello, she is awesome. Jeremy, she says, curious if you do anything with land, cash flow type, and I'm assuming that you mean raw land. If that's correct, ECAT, let me know. And while we're monitoring that, we'll go on to the next question. Should you do more? How many should you have going at one time? Jeremy.
Yeah, but when you're starting off, I'm going to tell you the safest strategy always. And Tony being, military Marine drill instructor for 20 years, we got to start off with the fundamentals, get them down before you progress into other stuff. So I'm going to always tell you, do one first at a time, see how that goes, manage it, learn it. If you're going to make mistakes, let's make mistakes on one, not on four at a time. But once the strategy I showed you, all the numbers, remember, it wasn't pie in the sky. It wasn't. It was one property, right? Some months, yep, I got four. Some months, 1, right? Some months you make it 0 because it depends on a thermometer. You can turn it up, or a thermostat, right? Not thermometer, thermostat, right? You can turn it up or turn it down. You can control it, but start with 1. Once you get 1, and you're like, man, I got some good contractors, I got some great team members there, I got a great property management, then maybe you can start doing a couple at a time. But let's slowly make it scalable. And remember, Tony and I talk about this all the time. Scalable doesn't just mean going up. Scalable also means like if we need to go down. Some people, unfortunately, it's really sad times that during a pandemic, they weren't able to scale down and they're out of business. And really sad. And I mean, and I'm not saying that lightly at all. I mean, there's some restaurants, guys, that have been around for family generations that are out of business because they couldn't scale it down. Yeah, but that breaks my heart. It really does. So let's make this scalable.
That's a really good point, Jeremy. And to that point on scalability, there was a comment on here about inventory. And remember that everyone is talking about inventory right now, but they're talking about inventory on a home buying inventory scale. And one of the things that we do is we hunt down, we track, and we find these properties. And you're able to do that in a very systematical way, and you're able to communicate in a way that is very appealing to realtors and other people that are getting rid of these properties. You're not looking at the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes that are in bidding wars, right? Yeah, I have many friends that are brokers, real estate brokers, real estate realtors, mortgage lenders, and they're just busy, like over the top busy right now because of the low inventory. This doesn't affect what we're talking about because we're not looking at those big competitive homes. And people are shifting too. There's a lot of people shifting toward just long-term rental units. For some people, they love the whole American dream, white picket fence. And then there's a group of people out there, a very large group of people that aren't interested in that at all. They're looking to rent and move on and rent and move on and are a lot more mobile than we used to be. When I was growing up, I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and everything around there was General Motors. And it was not uncommon for people to live in generational housing that their parents and their grandparents, et cetera, lived in, because it was based around, Chevrolet or Buick or Ford or whatever else it was around there. But that doesn't exist like that much anymore. So this is not only very appealing now, but it's been very appealing for a long time. And when you look at the statistics on it, it's not going away, right? And people enjoy that. So part of your portfolio, we are big fans of the brick and mortar or the advanced wholesaling flip strategy to make money. But there's a reason why this is Jeremy Isles' favorite strategy.
The other thing too, Tony, that I didn't even mention is, a lot of our students will teach single family, but then we have one who just got an offer accepted on a triplex or fourplex. I forget which one it is, but anything 4 units and under is considered residential. So all the financing and all of those things longer term are the same. So again, if you do a single family residence, starting with that, and guys, I can tell you 14 different ways that I love this strategy, and I didn't go into all those details either, but it's not just single family. You get multi units coming in, and again, you get that residual income. And a shout out to my mother-in-law's on here, and guess who invested with me on some deals before? My mother-in-law, they're in deals, my mother-in-law and father-in-law. So Bernita, hello. And why would I ever talk to my family? I would not talk to my family, nor would I'm going to tell every one of you, do not talk to your family on this until you feel so confident with it. Have a system in place, because think about that relationship. How dangerous would that be if things went wrong? And obviously we love each other so much, but I never want there to be conflict like that with a deal. So you talk about a safe system because it's a business, it's a checklist. Safety first.
Jeremy, it's interesting you mentioned that too, because some people, you have family or friends that want to invest or have the ability to invest, don't know how. But one of my very first gap funding partner in real estate was my uncle. And I didn't even know that, quite frankly, he's just kind of a regular guy. I didn't know if how he was rolling or not. And I was telling my mother, God rest her soul, about what I was doing, how I was doing it. And he said, well, why haven't you talked to me about this? And so we started talking. He goes, Roger that, let's do it. I want to invest with you. And, I even kind of took the extra pause, Jeremy, to go, okay, this is what it is, very professional, real business. Here are the numbers. I want you to understand it. And people say, some people say, I will never work with family. And I say, well, why not? If people understand what it is and they also want to make money too, why wouldn't you? So don't discount family, but I agree with Jeremy. That's not something that you necessarily want to lead with because, get one or two under your belt. And I had already done that. So when I was presenting it to my mom and just telling her about it, he was interested in it. Okay. Kelvin, congratulations. He said, I found, there's plenty of inventories. I found at least 5 homes in the last 10 minutes. So there's a ton of stuff out there. Congratulations, Kelvin, and welcome back. Disclaimer here, Kelvin's one of our students. That's awesome to hear from you. I'm glad that you're on here. And, and it's always, there's zero issue finding a property. It always comes down to finding the right property with the right property, or I'm sorry, with the right numbers, right? And that's what it all means. I see a lot of people going out there and say, I found this, I found this, I found this, but they don't know what that means on the other side of it, right? Anybody could find a property, but you want to make sure that you're finding the right property for sure.
One thing too, guys, while we're here for the next couple minutes, if you see holes in this, throw it at us, right? Rents, pandemic time, right? Not collecting them, tenants, property management, bad areas, high crime areas, right? You throw it at us, challenge me, please. I'll bring it. I very, like Tony says, hold my hammer, right? We got this. Can you make mistakes in it? Absolutely. If you don't do it right, if you don't vet it first, if you don't have the right knowledge, 100%, guys. Don't jump into it blindly, but can it be this? I've seen better, faster success with this and longevity too. Mailbox money coming in. I love wholesaling. I love cash flow. I love fix and flips. But as soon as I've done with those, guess what? I got to find another one to keep feeding the machine. Well, this, if I want to take a year off, and guess what? My cash flow properties are still making me money, right? So I'm just very blessed and fortunate to have started this one. I was hesitant to get started though. I was, because I knew fix and flips and wholesaling, that was my niche. And it took me, we're all comfortable with what we're comfortable with. I know ECAT, you asked about raw land. Let me jump to that one real fast. Tony, circle back to that. They don't cash flow. They're not some of the same things, but if you run across some great deals and you pick it up through like a tax lien, for example, in Central Florida, because I think that might have been where you're looking. Tony and I know some phenomenal builders. Tony has some great connections there. We're interested in some lots if you have lots available, so raw land in Central Florida. So yeah, absolutely let us know and email us. So yes, you do. Okay. And I know during tax liens or deeds or foreclosure, some of those things can take a while and everything, but once it's, the process is done, please email it over to us and we'll take a look at
it. Kind of to your question earlier, and I think this might be the last one. Oh, there's a couple more coming in here. Okay. And it goes down to, okay, I'm kind of scrolling here. It looks like somebody put it in here a few times. So Jeremy, to your point about challenging you, and I know, hit me with your best shot, right? Pat Benatar action, but what are a few of the things that you've seen that people did wrong? One of our friends, Nick, always used to say you can't unscramble the egg, but sometimes I know you've done this a lot while going and doing a one-on-one training with people, Jeremy, is although you can't unscramble the egg, you can help them, better their situation. So what are a few things that you have seen that people did make mistakes on that might be common or trendy to avoid?
Yeah, great question. The one big one I see is they buy a house, and remember, we got to do value add, because we can't buy it for 50 and say, oh, it's worth 100, right? What appraiser is going to appraise it for that? They're not. They can't justify that. And my brother-in-law is an appraiser, some of you know, and some of you, but I've dealt with how many appraisers in how many different states and seen how many of them. They can't just do that. So we got to do value add. So if the house doesn't really need work, well, how do you make it worth more? So that would be a mistake. And why do people do that? Because they get emotional, and they think they're kind of a scarcity mindset, like, oh, I found a deal. Well, if you're only thinking there's only one deal out there for you, then no wonder why you have that scarcity mindset. There's so many deals, you just have to know where to find them, and then they start coming to you. So that's one mistake, and are just completely not being detailed on what you want fixed. Yeah, if something's going to be breaking down on a rental unit, if my water heater always needs to have work done all the time on it, why am I not replacing it? Right? So then you get nickel and dimed by these little menial costs when you should have just replaced it. So again, you're pinching pennies and trying to do all of that, but really you're stepping over dollars to pinch those pennies, and that's kind of foolish to do. So get those things done. Like anything with contractors, put a detailed scope of work together. You don't have to do all of that. Again, here's another trick up our sleeve. You can have the property management company do those repairs for you. But I've had them many times, they'll go in and say, okay, I bought this, here's what needs done in order to make it tenant ready. Sometimes that's not enough though, because yes, we can get a tenant in it, but if Tony and I are trying to pull out this kind of money, we need it up to this value, we may not just be able to get those minimum repairs, right? We may need to do a couple others so we can pull all the money back out. So it's like chess. You got to think several pieces ahead, and until it's second nature.
Jeremy, good point. And one thing that I'll just kind of add to that I've seen too is people over renovating a rehab unit, a rental unit. You know, that's, I don't want to say that's common, but some of the mistakes that we've seen going through and analyzing some of the mistakes that people have made, that's one of them. Okay, looks like we have one more, Jeremy. You see Linda's there at the end?
Yeah, one thing too reminded me of this. There was one time in San Antonio, I was flying through, and I had this property, Tony just closed on it, and I figured I'll check it out. So I had the rental car, checked it out, and when I drove through the neighborhood, I'm like, I don't really like this neighborhood. I don't really like this stuff. That rental property is, my wife and I were talking about it today, probably one of our best ones we have. But emotionally, I looked at it and I'm like, I don't like this area. I don't want to live here. And even me, who's done all these flips, it still kind of gave me pause. But that rental property, the tenants were taking the extra mortgage payments instead of just letting it build up in that account. We're paying off the mortgage faster because the owner financed it. It was a tired landlord that said, I'm done, take it over. And from buying it, we've had it for like 2.5 years. It will be paid off in 4 years from buying it. How many businesses can pay themselves off in 4 years? And what are we doing with the property? Nothing.
Awesome.
We just bought it. But I could have used my own biases and mistakes and said, this neighborhood, I don't like it. And man, that would have cost me how many of, again, hundreds of thousands, because I'm not, right now it's not, I didn't make 100,000 on it, but longevity, years. If I own it for 20 years, you know, how much money did I make? How much appreciation for me or my family, whoever I give it to. So Linda's about the dog, that could be, I think is what it is, about the pets, can be tricky, a little sticky too. I saw that one. So with pets, here's a big thing with any landlord. I had a property manager give me this great advice. Service dogs, service animals. I asked her, should we allow pets or not? Because being in Montana, I was calling about one of my fourplexes I have. And she goes, Jeremy, allow pets, because if not, but charge more for them, charge extra. You can either do a bigger deposit or charge a little extra each month for them, because if not, they can just go to a doctor and say, hey, I need this is a service animal, and now you have to let them through and you can't charge any extra for it. So what they told me to do, she gave me that advice, and it's been solid, sound advice. And guess what? Since I've interviewed her and asked her that question years ago, I've heard that same advice from some other wise ones, because that's what everyone does. So again, you don't have to know all the answers yourself, but collectively, it's great to have all of these things. Now it's not sticky anymore. It's, hey, I make extra money every month. They have the dogs there. Yeah, some of the state guidelines on any of that stuff, Linda. Here's what's amazing about all of this. She's saying you have to watch about some of the, you have to be careful on some of the guidelines, follow state regulations. Do you want to read all the state regulations, or do you want to have a property management company that's what they specialize in? They have to let you know, yeah, you have to have people here. I won't forget, we had to do these deadlocks, deadbolt locks, certain things in this state. They let me know on that list. That way I don't know all that stuff. And if it changes next year, guess what? I don't know it, but my property management company's plugged in and they let me know what exactly needs to be done. Oh, you got to have a peephole here. Oh, if you don't have a peephole, you have to have a window next to it. Great. They keep me safe. And I manage the managers. So great question.
All right. And any saved questions, we're getting ready to close it up. And if you have any last minute questions, go ahead and give us a buzz here in the questions area. And while you're doing that, for everyone else, just as a reminder, over the next 48 hours, we're going to be calling and doing I say interview. It's not going to be like we're grilling you. We just want to make sure that you're a right fit. And it'll also give you the opportunity to make sure that we're the right fit for you. You know, some of you are on here that are fix and flip students, so that'll make it a whole lot easier for both of us. But some of you are on here that are newer, and I'm chatting with you as we're going along just to see what your experience level is, and also what your seriousness or your commitment level is, because we want people that are actually going to do it. It's not one of those things where you jump on and don't do anything, right? We want to jump on and do it. So if you're not willing to really put your put some effort into it, put a little bit of time into it, and I don't want to say a ton of time, but I'm also not going to minimize it, or you know, like Jeremy said, you know, earlier, this isn't a get rich in 30-day kind of program, but it is one of the best longevity programs you're going to be involved with. So if you're interested in being one of our Dirty Dozen or 12 investors to work with us personally, right? It's our group with our mastermind group members to learn and develop and grow a little bit more with other people. What I want you to do, and you know, don't worry about any kind of time, cost, or commitment. The only thing that we're looking for right now is if you're interested, and if you are, please let us know ASAP. You can again give us a call or send us an email, and or if right here right now, if you want to put in the chat / questions box, let us know that you're interested, and we will give you a call based on your input on your phone number and your email. And Jeremy, why kind of make a few comments here and some notes? Why don't you complete it and take us out here, brother, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to shout out, I see Craig works for the Giants, San Francisco Giants. So you're right, you would not be doing it in that market, Craig. So I'm glad you were able to make it on. But man, how great is that? If you could buy a $1 million home in San Francisco, or you know how many rental properties you can buy, cash flow properties in another market, and your return is going to be can't even compare. Your return on investment drastically better. So I love that, Craig. Glad you made it on. Robert, all the way from Alaska. You know, glad you're here. Man, I know some students that I've worked with even in the past. When the market's tougher like this, when there's less supply, sometimes it's definitely harder to wholesale because you need a little extra profit margin in it to wholesale it. And even sometimes fix and flips get tighter. You definitely gotta be on your A game to find deals with the cash flow properties, seeing them so much easier. So many properties, able to find them, and it's just so it's kind of a fresh breath of fresh air for students that have been, you know, scrapping, fighting for a fix and flip, and they got one, and then they got another one. Okay, got to find another one. Well, here the turnkey process, this is a turnkey business. Fix and flips are. I love it. So yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to all of them, and Ron, I'm glad you made it on, and all of y'all. And I'm not gonna say hi to all, 50 of you on here or so, but I see, I don't even know how many of you have emailed in. I haven't checked anything on that, but I'll turn it back over to Tony here. The final thing, let me go to the next slide. Follow us on Facebook, like Tony said too. Our Facebook page, we'll keep you posted on stuff. And just stay close to us if you guys want to be aware of our next one. Maybe you're not a part of the 12 this time. right? But if we do another one later on in the year, or maybe we do one in the fall or next year, we do another mastermind group, maybe you'll be a part of that one, because the students we're working and holding their hands through this it's a year long. Yeah, so it's like you said, it's not get rich quick. We're not going to just train you 2 days and cram it all in and say, okay, you're on your own. No, not at all. So stay close with us. And if it's not a good fit right now, don't be offended or anything. It's just out of, we have, just so you know, we have like, I think 250 or so that let us know that they're interested in one way or another in this. We're just trying to weed and get the good people. Yep, and not that the other ones aren't good, but get the ones that are ready now that are going to be a good fit with the 12. The dirty dozen.
The dirty dozen, baby. Yes. And that will close it out. Jeremy, thank you for doing that. You're a stud. And for all of you that have not been coached or trained or mentored or taught by Jeremy in the past, nobody does it better. I'm blessed to be not only his partner, but his friend. And we enjoy doing this. We like helping people. It's fun for us. Sometimes not so much. That's why we want to be very choosy on this one, but we're blessed to be able to do this. And speaking of blessings, we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend coming up. Happy Easter to everybody here. And we will be following up with you that put your name either on here or email or call in the number. Thank you so much. And as always, we'd like to end with be blessed and be safe. And we'll see you all very soon. Thanks again, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. We'll talk about character. Man, Tony's character, I love it. I keep wanting to share more and more things. If you need help raising funds, Tony's never had an issue, I feel like, ever raising funds for deals. And let me tell you why, guys. It's because of character. If he says he's going to do something, he does it. So just want to share that with you, because last week we talked about credibility, and man, Tony shines on that one. Tony said nice words about me. So, but I feel this way no matter what. I'll say it if he wasn't here, because it's absolutely true. I'm the blessed one to have you as a business partner. Even though we're yin and yang, right? We got it. Yeah. Well, thank you, Captain America.
All right, buddy. Well, that's it for us. High Impact Outcomes is out of here. Take care, guys. Have a great night.